As rain chances are set to resume in the mountains. I'll have the latest timing and temperatures straight ahead at 6.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Worker shortages continue to impact a large number of businesses and organizations, and veteran centers are no different. WYMT's Dakota Makers spoke with one Eastern Kentucky veteran about what he thinks could help fix the problem.
Veteran Haven King says the Paul E. Patton Eastern Kentucky Veterans Center needs more workers.
My concern is I want to see this place be able to get veterans in here.
Adding that the staffing shortages have been going on for some time, but that the care provided is top-notch regardless.
Most of these guys are on long-term care, okay? And they really do. They've done a great job here. I've been to all of them, and I'll have to say that I think Eastern Kentucky is one of the best there is.
Saying pay is low, with some making $8.26 an hour.
Well, out of the 4 that we have in Kentucky, we are the lowest paid. East Kentucky, Paul Patton is the lowest paid in the state, and that's just not right.
He says taking care of our veterans will require more money.
It's going to take efforts of the executive, of the legislative branch of state government. The governor must see that there's a need and be able to bring this forth whenever we have a session in January.
He fears if more funding is not sent, the center could close its doors.
We can change this, but you have to work at it. You have to talk to your people. You have to talk to your congregations. You have to get them to get out there and talk to their leaders, talk to their representatives.
Using his voice to speak for our nation's veterans. In Perry County, Dakota Makers, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, we did speak with Mark Bowman, the executive director of the Office of Kentucky Veteran Centers. He tells us there are no plans or discussions even to close the Hazard facility. A Kentucky federal judge blocked President Joe Biden's vaccine mandate for government contractors. The Lexington Herald reports U.S. District Judge Gregory Van Tatenhove issued the order this afternoon. This was in response to Attorney General Daniel Cameron, who joined other state attorneys general in opposing the mandate. The judge said, quote, "This is not a case about whether vaccines are effective. They are. Nor is this a case about whether the government at some level and in some circumstances can require citizens to obtain vaccines. It can." He said that the question before him was a narrow one, whether or not President Biden had the authority to impose vaccines on the employees of federal contractors and subcontractors. The judge said, quote, "In all likelihood, the answer to that question is no." In Whitley County, Judge Executive Pat White Jr. will appoint Emergency Management Director Danny Moses to serve as the interim county sheriff, as we previously reported. Now, Moses was sworn in, we understand, today. Moses will serve until the next Whitley County Sheriff's election in 2022. The vacancy came about following the resignation of former Sheriff Todd Shelley. Anthony Christie will take over as the interim emergency management director while Moses serves as sheriff.
Quiet evening weather-wise around the mountains on this Tuesday night. We continue to see some high clouds building in. It actually gave us a pretty nice sunset in many spots. You see that from our time-lapse camera at I-75 at London. We spent the day under beautiful blue skies and again a few high clouds, but not too much to interfere with a gorgeous day in the mountains. London Corbin Airport right now, we've switched to night mode, black and white on the camera. Now sitting at 52 as the last of that sunset goes below the horizon. A lot of us made it up into the upper 50s today. Look at Williamsburg, made it up to 61 and 60 in Middlesboro. As we, though, head out to the east, Wise, our usual cool spot at 52, and they're our usual cool spot again right now at 43. Irvin's at 49, Jonesville at 48. Look at Monticello already checking in at 52, so they actually take the spot from Wise, but most of the rest of us are in the low to middle 50s, though we'll continue to see those drop as we head into tonight. Now, satellite and radar showing a few of those high clouds moving in, but the rainfall still staying across portions of Missouri. That's where it'll stay for tonight, but as we head into tomorrow, that's when you're going to want to have the WYMT weather app handy, because those rain chances will be increasing even as our temperatures increase as well. I'll have the latest on that coming up in just a minute. Steve?
Evan, thank you. A man is charged with murder after a deadly crash in Laurel County. The crash happened around 9:15 p.m. back on November 11th on Kentucky 1006. The citation says an officer who arrived on the scene just after the crash happened saw the car being driven in a reckless manner just before the crash. An arrest citation says Christian Schrader was driving when his car was involved in the crash that resulted in the death of his two passengers, a woman and a man. Schrader was taken to the hospital where, according to the citation, the officer heard him tell hospital staff he had taken meth before the crash. One man is facing charges following an incident at a motel in Whitley County. Williamsburg police officers arrested Arenas Ramirez on Saturday. In a Facebook post, officials say they responded to a call that Ramirez was trying to force himself on an underage girl inside a motel room. Ramirez is charged with burglary, sexual misconduct, and endangering the welfare of a minor. The former Kentucky Democratic Party chairman and father of former Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes has reported to the Federal Correctional Institution in Ashland. Jerry Lundergan was ordered to go to prison November 30th after the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the 74-year-old's conviction and rejected a motion to suspend the judgment. A jury convicted him in September of 2019 of conspiring to illegally contribute more than $200,000 from one of his companies to the 2014 U.S. Senate campaign of his daughter. Laurel County Sheriff John Root is warning people of a phone spoofing scam going around. They say the caller is claiming to be a sheriff's deputy and using technology to make their calls show up on caller ID as the sheriff's office phone number before asking people to give them $3,000. The sheriff's office says to not pay them the money and to report these calls. They also add that no law enforcement agency will call to collect payments over the phone. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office is investigating the source of the calls. Kentucky's lawmakers have been holding task force meetings over the state's beleaguered unemployment system. Their final meeting ahead of next year's General Assembly session was today. Lawmakers say their work could make its way into legislation for next year's session. This as a lot of people still tell us they are struggling to get benefits. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more.
Labor leaders and union members strolled into the committee that's been looking into numerous problems plaguing the state's unemployment system for almost 2 years.
The intent of this whole thing was just to get people's input on what needs to be done.
The end result of months of hearing testimony, mostly about an outdated and overrun computer system, are recommendations to hand over to lawmakers to draw up legislation for next year's session. But some fear the consequences of that.
Any changes that you make to unemployment is going to hurt working people in Kentucky.
Labor cabinet leaders to organization heads, even the Kentucky auditor testified to the task force, but some say it has not been enough.
We did not hear from any unemployed workers who have tried to navigate this system on their own.
The opportunity was given for individuals to come and testify before this committee.
As lawmakers argue over what's the best course, some are still pleading for help after losing their jobs, such as the man who spoke to me today who says he lost his job several months back. His claim remains in fact-finding, and no one from the state or federal level will give him any answers. Unfortunately, lawmakers say legislation next year won't help current claims, but can they prevent another mess?
You'd never have total assurance. I think that it's going to be absolutely better in the future, hopefully.
Senator Nemeth says one key part is recommendations to establish the Kentucky Career Centers is not just helping the unemployed, but the underemployed. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The task force approved the recommendations with 2 Democrats voting against them. One argument was they were not specific enough. The Kentucky River Area Development District announced the death of longtime board member Jack Burkich. Burkich died on Saturday at the age of 95. He lived in Letcher County and served on several committees. He was a World War II veteran and an educator, holding positions as a teacher, principal, and superintendent throughout his career. He was also an active volunteer in several civic organizations. His funeral will be Saturday at 1 at Graham Memorial Presbyterian Church in Whitesburg. Since 2004, the General Assembly and Save the Children have partnered to improve early childhood learning in Kentucky schools. In 2018, the funding came to Leslie County schools to launch summer programs, after school sessions, and non-academic support at home. Since then, the program has seen 94% of participating students in kindergarten through 6th grade meet or exceed standards in reading comprehension.
Kids that maybe they were above novice but not reading on their grade level, and these programs are helping them get the attention that they need, the focus that they need, and the resources our teachers and staff need to get these kids where they need to be.
To make the programs work without overworking the schools, Save the Children creates the lesson plans and trains the staff to implement them. The second annual Christmas decorating competition is happening in downtown Hazard this week. The event encourages businesses and organizations to show their Christmas spirit and compete for the best Christmas decoration display. The event is part of Christmas in a Small Town, hosted by the Perry County Fair Board.
Businesses feed off each other. You see somebody decorate beside you, it makes you want to join in the fun. And it's a way to give back to the community, to cause excitement. So I'm hoping even more people decorate this year for the contest.
Businesses and organizations have until December 9th to decorate for the contest. The winner will receive a trophy and, of course, bragging rights.
Raincoat weather returns for the middle of the week as we close the book on November. I'll have the full details, including the latest from Future View, on the way.
And it's a day meant to encourage generosity. We'll hear about some of the local impact Giving Tuesday has in our communities.